Yo, 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 yo. We are the ill-advised wise guys. It's your boy Uche. I got my boy.
You easy for sheezy is way too easy. Lakers in 4 easy.
Hey, look. Hey. Before we get into the obvious attire that you've chose to wear on this show, this is episode 83 for those of you who didn't know. Let's see. Damn. I was gonna try to figure out who wears number 83, but yeah, we stopped doing that a long time ago.
Andre Rison, remember him?
You didn't just say Andre Rison.
Yeah, we know him. He's the one that had his house burned down.
I thought he was the one that tried to kill somebody. Wasn't there a wide receiver that went to jail for killing somebody? Anyway, man.
You talking Ray Caruth?
I don't freaking know anymore. Actually, you know what? Nope. Wrong sport and wrong number. I'm thinking of Jason Williams in the NBA.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
He wore 44. I think he wore number 44. So I don't even know why I brought him up.
No NBA player wearing 83. That's illegal.
Meta
99.
Meta World Peace. Now he wore 90. 93? What was his number, dog?
Wore 90.
How the hell was he a damn defensive lineman? He was a defensive lineman in the NBA.
He damn sure looked like it. Big ass dude.
Yeah, welcome everyone. This is the Wise Guys. If you're listening to this show, you're part of the Wise Gang. What Wise Gang, whether or not you knew that or not. Shout out to everybody that's listening to the show on YouTube. Keep doing that. Like the video, comment, subscribe, share it, do whatever you need to do. And shout out to everybody that, listen to podcasts the old-fashioned way, the audio version. Somehow, some way, y'all that listen to us on Apple Podcasts are really that's our main platform, Apple Podcasts and also Spotify, which is interesting. But shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Now back to this that you got on, Q. Can you show the people what you have? Because we can't really see it in the camera.
Purple and gold. I am not a Lakers fan. I'm not Lakers fan.
You're just a clout chaser that pretends to be one.
I just happened to have this jersey. It was in the basement, and I looked up and I said, "Wait a second, ain't this team in the NBA Finals right now? Let me wear it." Because remember when we went to Vegas? That's when I bought this jersey. We went to Vegas. I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit one of these pool parties up with this LeBron James Lakers jersey. At the time, he just got to the Lakers. I spent like $200 for this damn jersey, and then I couldn't even wear it at the pool party. So I got my revenge.
I remember that.
I got my revenge, Dreas. And all you other pool party places try to charge me $20 talking about the Lakers jersey was going to incite a riot. Go to hell.
Is that what they said? I can't remember. They
said, man, your Lakers jerseys must be right. If because we don't want opposing people getting mad that you're wearing a Lakers jersey. I was like, what?
But you know what though, man?
That was stupid. Had to see my fat ass.
Dude, we was in the pool. You shouldn't have been wearing the jersey in the pool anyway. What are you?
Who the hell
defensive lineman?
Who the hell goes to a pool party and actually goes in the pool? That disgusting ass pool. I was in the corner.
You tripping, dog? I was definitely in the pool, and if I recall correctly, so were you. So what the hell are you talking about?
That's in that pool.
So wait, are you going to lie to the American people and say you were not in the pool? Is that what you said?
Not in that damn pool. My feet were. Well, does that count as
fam? Fam, that was a big ass pool. You were in the fucking pool. What are you talking about?
That one time was beautiful. It was the most beautiful.
See,
pool. It was a great pool, and the pool was outstanding. I believe the best in modern history.
The pool was tremendous. It was absolutely tremendous, and there were millions and billions of people in the pool. It was phenomenal, and he's gonna do a good job.
It was the greatest pool I've ever seen, bar none. It's the greatest pool I've ever seen.
Hey, listen. Before we get into that guy, let's just talk about the NBA Finals since you got the shirt on. For those of you guys who are living under a rock, the Lakers and the Heat are in the NBA Finals, and As of today, it is 2-0. The Lakers are up 2-0. As a matter of fact, they've pretty much blown out the Heat in each game. Game 1 was worse than Game 2. It's not looking good for Jimmy Buckets and Goran Dragic. Does Goran Dragic have a nickname? Because he should. That's a tight name.
That's his nickname is Dragon.
For real?
Yeah, the Dragon.
I like that. That's a good name. And Tyler Hero, listen, his last name speaks for itself. What do you think?
They call him Baby Goat.
Baby Goat. I would never call him that. What the hell are you talking
He got
about?
the swag of somebody that's been in the league for about 15 years. A black man that has been in the league for 15 years.
Yo, listen. Well, first and foremost, he does not have the swag of somebody who's been in the league for 15 years because that would make him on the way out of the league or retiree. He got the swag of somebody that's like a fifth-year vet, 6th year. He been in the league, but this is his 2nd year, man. What? Tell me why
He's a rookie.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right. Tell me why you are truly on the Heat side, but you got a Lakers jersey. Come on, give it to me.
Who said I was on the Heat side? Although I am on the Heat side, I didn't have a Miami Heat jersey. Look.
Does the back of that jersey say Hero or James? Which one?
The back of the jersey says Dick's Sporting Goods. No,
damn.
You know what it says. It says, man, you know what it says. Look at that. James. King James, man. I mean, hey, listen, as a sports fan, you gotta at least be a fan of what LeBron James has been able to do.
Yes,
10 straight finals or 11. Well, actually,
10.
he missed
10.
He missed it. He didn't go to 10 straight.
Oh, no.
He got
definitely
injured.
Not straight.
He got injured in the other season, but unprecedented run as a career. So I'm not necessarily rooting for Lakers to win. I just happen to have the jersey. Really, my only team that I root for is the Wizards. But I mean, you already know what's happening over there. I mean, I can't even explain. It's unexplained. Are they still called the Wizards or are they Washington basketball team?
Hey, listen. First and foremost, the Heat are going to lose, and I just hope they make it respectable. That's all.
No, man, we waited this whole time. Like the NBA in the bubble has been fantastic, and then we get this final.
You know what though, man? I'm happy for LeBron, and I truly want these conversations about LeBron James being. Is LeBron James better than Michael Jordan? When will he be better than Michael Jordan? This is his 10th finals. Does that mean he's inching closer to? That's what they love to say. LeBron James does one extra thing. Is he closer to being close to Michael Jordan? It's like, dude, just stop and just appreciate the greatness we're seeing. Listen, this is a very short combo because I think the Lakers are going to wrap this shit up, whether it's in 4 games, 5 games. That's just my opinion. I want to talk about the Kyrie Irving comments, though, because I saw you threw that on the agenda. This is a very close topic to the Lakers and the jersey you got on and LeBron. You want to kick that one off, man?
Yeah, man.
What did Kyrie say?
Kyrie Irving hopped on Kevin Durant's new podcast, which is fantastic, by the way. You guys should watch it. And he had some pretty interesting comments that he made. He said that, for the first time with his new team, he has somebody that can make the same difficult shots as him. It was an obvious shot at LeBron James and Gordon Hayward. It was clearly he was talking about Gordon Hayward and LeBron James. That's the 2 teammates that he had that are the ones that clearly was guiding him to wins. But I thought that was glaring. And then he also made another comment about Steve Kerr. He said, "Man, like Steve Kerr, we don't really have a coach." Not Steve Kerr, sorry, Steve Nash. Mm-hmm. He said, "We don't really have a coach. What we have is someone that works well with everybody else. Like, we don't need to be coached," essentially is what he said. And I'm like, I find it that Kyrie Irving, I love Kyrie Irving. let me preface my comments like Stephen A. Smith always says. I'm gonna preface my comments by saying that brother.
Make sure you go. Make sure you.
Let me say this real quick.
Yeah, let me just say this.
That brother is a 10-time All-Star. That brother can shoot from the parking lot. That brother is great.
And I know his mama personally, and she told me to not say nothing crazy about her son. So I'm gonna be respectful.
But yeah, I mean, Kyrie Irving is a fantastic player, but you know, at this point, like I think his mouth, like he continuously finds himself saying some crazy, questionable stuff, and I'm like, at a certain point, do you continue to put up with somebody as skilled as they are, but toxic like him? Like, when do you say enough is enough? Like, this dude is too toxic for every situation that he gets himself into. That is toxic. That is mad disrespectful to LeBron James, who got you a title. But
you know what though? I got two things to say about that because I actually did hear his remarks. At least I heard. Apparently, he said multiple things, but I heard two of them. Number one, this is the fact that he was on the Kevin Durant podcast tells me all I need to know. This is clearly recency bias. And let's say that he is telling the truth and he truly believes that. My second point is, so what that somebody can hit the same shot as you? What does that have to do with winning? Because the last time I checked, the only time Kyrie Irving won a championship was when he played with LeBron. You remember like he played with LeBron a few years, right? With Cleveland. Before LeBron came back to Cleveland, right? What did that team do? Because I don't recall them doing anything.
They did do something. They did do something. They lost a great amount. They lost more than they won.
Thank you.
They won draft lotteries.
Yeah, okay, all right. They did something positive. They just didn't win games. Okay, cool.
Yes.
So my thing is, so what? Like, I hate when people try to like narrow and move the goalpost as if we are supposed to go into his world and say just because somebody can't hit shots like you, what does that mean? That means they're not good? What? That means they're not better than you? Because we're not about to sit here and have a conversation about who is a better player, Kyrie Irving or LeBron James. So to me, his comments were just like pointless. Like I don't even think LeBron should be offended. Honestly, I really don't. Even though I do think he meant it as an insult, to me, if I'm LeBron, I'm not even insulted because Kyrie sounds stupid. He sounds dumb.
It's the pattern.
And I say that respectfully because I love Kyrie Irving and especially the way he can dribble the basketball. He's one of the best to ever do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
for whatever that's worth.
It's a pattern for him. And, you know, the reason I bring this up, like one of our homies, you know, Randy, I got into like a little discussion with him on Twitter, and we were like, yo.
Hey, shout out to Randy, man.
Shout out to Randy.
I don't know if he got an actual shout out on the show, but if you watching, shout out.
Yeah, like he brought up, we talked about Steve Nash a little bit, and I said it's a good hire. And then what I said was the thing I don't like really is that he's coaching Kyrie Irving. Like that's a problem. Like Kyrie Irving has shown that he's toxic. And he was kind of like, you know, Kyrie Irving is just getting a bad rap. His media, fake news kind of responds to it. And I was like, you know, I don't feel like it's fake news. Like everywhere he goes, there's problems. Like, you know, in Cleveland, the man won a championship. And he's talking about, I want out. He goes, leaves Cleveland, goes to Boston. They put everything possible that they could have around him. They practiced patience with the man. The man told Celtics that I'm coming back. And then you flip. The team looks 100% better when you're injured. The team looked better when he was injured. And then he comes back. The team looks worse. They add Kemba Walker, and Boston Celtics was this close to making the finals when he's gone. Then you leave Celtics. Then there's rumors about you in the Nets causing problems already. Do you tell the whole NBA, don't go to the bubble? Like, it's a pattern with him to me where he's just continuously saying some stuff that's like, yo, it's questionable. And I think the moral of the story is just because you like the person, just because you know the person's good in basketball, you know, that doesn't mean that you should just sit back and listen to the person and agree with everything the person's doing. Like to me,
of
at this
course
point,
not.
call me crazy. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. If I was an NBA GM,
You're crazy.
I would absolutely not put Kyrie on my team.
Me, you know what?
I would not trade for Kyrie.
Me neither.
I would not add him on my team.
You know, another person I wouldn't trade for, Russell Westbrook. I don't want him on my team. I'm sorry.
I would trade for Russell Westbrook.
I will not.
I'll tell Russell Westbrook, like, you know, get your act together, because he ain't toxic. He's just on the basketball court, he makes mistakes.
See and I'll say this, and then we can move on. Because I didn't even know we were going to spend this much time on him. But this is good. This is a good convo. Like,
that's true.
To me, I think there's two things wrong with Kyrie. Number one, like you said, man, like his attitude, he's very volatile. You don't really know the type of dude you're gonna get with him. Like, very unpredictable. Remember, offline we're having this convo about another unrelated topic, and I was telling you, you know, people like consistency. Like,
yes.
people like to know who you're going to be, whether it's a hothead or somebody that's mellow or somebody that's reasonable. People want to know if you're going to be consistently that. People generally don't like when somebody is like willing to take their mind and go elsewhere. It's kind of hard to deal with people like that. Now, I want to give Kyrie credit. He was right about the whole NBA. Remember the NBA players, they protested during the season, and they were about to call it quits for a second. And for a slight moment, everybody was giving Kyrie his props, including myself. Kyrie was at the forefront of that, even when it was unpopular. So I'm not about to sit here and act like everything he says is crazy, but I will say he has shown that he's not a dude that I would want to play with or even have on my roster. The fact that you said he doesn't look at Steve Nash as a coach, to me, is problematic. And the second thing I was going to say was the fact that Kevin Durant, by the way, and I heard this from Kevin say this out of his own mouth. He said him and Kyrie Irving are like best homies. Like, that's his man's, right? Which is one of the main reasons he came to Brooklyn. To me, that's going to be a problem and something to watch out for all season, because if Durant is going to tolerate this type of Kyrie Irving, I'm not sure where this team is going to go, because I don't even know if Kyrie Irving can be checked. Like, he's kind of just a rogue dude, man. And if his man, the best guy on that team, is okay with that, that to me, that makes for a volatile team. And you're already not really showing the proper level of respect for your head coach. He hasn't started at all. But, like, come on, man. I'm not really sure about this team. To me, if they win a championship or even get to the finals, I will be shocked. To be honest with you, I'll be shocked.
Even like in today's NBA, right? I know I don't want to sound like get off my lawn type person, but could you imagine like the dude that LeBron and you have been going to battle with, like going to battle against 5 years? Like, Golden State versus Cleveland has been a thing for like 4 or 5 years. Kevin Durant has consistently whooped your ass in the finals. You go and join that, man? Like, you enjoy a team? Like, that's equivalent to – literally, that would be equivalent to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen whooping Utah Jazz's ass every year. And John Stockton said, yo, you know, man, I've been meaning to play with Scottie Pippen for so long. I love Scottie Pippen. First time in my lifetime, I finally have a player that can make shots like me in Scottie Pippen. They whooped your ass for all these years. Like, to me, that speaks volumes. I mean, I just that to me speaks volumes about loyalty. Because remember, in the year, in this past season, remember what Kyrie Irving said about his teammates? They lost one game. One game that he came back. He said, this Nets team is not good enough. We don't have good enough players. After one game, he has a loyalty problem. That is the problem. And to me, loyalty is like the greatest sin that when it comes to keeping it real. So if you don't got loyalty, that to me speaks volumes.
So to me, both of them dudes, him, as much as I love Durant has been, I think people sleep on Durant. Durant, to me, when healthy, is arguably the best player in the world. And on most days, on most nights, I can legitimately say he is the best player in the world. I don't care about LeBron. I'm not even being disrespectful. That's how good Durant is. The fact that Durant lost 3-1, after being up 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors and actually joined the very team that came back, is that lack of character that you're referring to. So now you got two dudes who are showing these types of trends. I'm just telling you, man, this team is going to be interesting to watch because there's going to be a whole lot of immaturity and just things just happening, and we're going to be shaking our head all season long. I promise you. All season.
That is crazy.
So,
that is crazy.
But yeah, man, let's move on, man, because this is not a sports show. However, for the last 15 minutes, it sounded like one.
It can be. Yeah, let's talk about this Trump versus Biden debate. If you want to call it that. I like to call it a kids kids playing in the playground.
Yeah, I was about to say they were definitely playing hide and go seek. That's all that was. Like they weren't really serious. Honestly, I wanted to watch the debate. This is one of the few times I've ever made appointment television to watch a presidential debate. I legit for a week was like, oh, word, the debate's coming on Tuesday at 9? Oh, I'm there. I was there 10 minutes early with my damn popcorn in my right hand and my water in my left hand. Check this out. About 5 minutes in, I definitely had to upgrade my water to something alcoholic because that was pure comedy. I mean, we can put for this. Listen, I don't want to get all heavy. Listen, let's keep it light, man. I want to separate the politics from just the mere entertainment value of the actual debate. But Biden, to me, he started out pretty decent. He started out pretty calm, right? Like he actually had the right type of energy. Mm-hmm. I thought he was deflecting properly. He didn't feed into Trump's, typical games that he normally plays. And then it just went left when Trump just kind of just started going after his son, his dead son. He started just apparently blatantly lying on him. And then Biden just had enough and just called him a clown. Hey, guy, will you shut up? Come on, man. Will you shut up?
You shut up. Yeah, that was
how can we call that a debate? Honestly, that was not a debate. We learned nothing from that. And to me, I'm not a political analyst, so I'm not here to break down the policies. But even as somebody who was just there for entertainment, and slightly there for the politics, to hear what they had to say, I can honestly say I learned nothing about what any of those dudes were pushing in their agendas or anything like that. That was just simply a shouting match. I mean, we didn't learn anything, man.
I mean,
Well, actually, we did learn one thing. We learned that we confirmed that Donald Trump has hair plugs. Did you see that one picture? Did you see that picture from the side that they showed?
I did not see it. What happened?
Bro,
was his hair about to fly?
There was a picture. Yeah, there was a draft in the debate room. Nah, that's not what happened. There was a picture online that caught Trump from the side, and somebody screenshot it, and it was just going around. He had like a plug in his hair. It seemed like it was attaching to, I don't know. It was in the middle of his head on the side, and it looked like it was attaching two sides of hair, man. We confirmed what everybody was suspicious about for years, that Trump has fake hair.
I mean, that's obvious.
It's not really a squirrel. It's actual fake hair, So
I've actually seen his hair almost fly away, so it's obvious. But
that sounds like some cartoon shit. You ain't see that. Where'd you see that?
I seen it. It's videos. YouTube it. It's not fake news either. I seen his hair almost fly away. But the debate to me was very entertaining. I mean, there was clearly some moments in the debate that stood out over others. Like obviously when Joe Biden called him a clown, I was like, he's calling the sitting president a clown on national TV. And then also there was a moment where he said, "You are, man, come on, man, you're the worst president of all time, man." I was like, wow. Then obviously the scene where they told Donald Trump to denounce white supremacy, and he was like, who do you want me to denounce? Who? The Proud Boys? Oh, okay. Proud Boys, stand up and stand down. Like, that to me spoke volumes. He seemed like he refused to denounce this white supremacy, white supremacists, and then the Proud Boys group. But I will say this: I'm going to come to Trump's defense for one time. I don't think he was saying stand up and stand by, that like pretty much he was supporting the Proud Boys. I think he just forgot what the moderator told him to say. I think he forgot that the moderator told him, tell them to stand down. So he was over here like, yo, I'm trying to figure out what the hell did he say, stand up, or did he say stand by? Horrible gaffe. I mean, probably the worst gaffe in the history of gaffes. I mean, it was bad.
Yo, I mean, look, I first off, I'm not agreeing with you. I'm not rolling with that. I firmly believe that he knew what he was doing. And let's say that you're right. He didn't hear properly, right? He didn't know what was being said. To me, that's an indictment on the fact that he was talking over everybody. He wouldn't let anybody listen. Like, either way you look at it,
I agree with that.
He needed to shut the fuck up or address things as a president should actually address things, right? That was bad. You're right.
I mean, how many times did Chris Wallace say, "All right, man, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, let him talk, Mr. President, Mr. President."
Hey, listen, I was surprised Chris Wallace didn't get up and like try to fight him. Like, that was some. He seemed like he wanted smoke at one point, but it was almost like his demeanor never changed.
His demeanor never changed.
But you can see him getting. You can see him getting. You can see him getting riled up, but he had the same face. That was weird. That was weird. To me, that was more impressive than anything that happened in the debate. Was the moderator's demeanor.
And it's
I've never seen anybody have a demeanor like that. Wow.
And as funny as it sounds, he did a good job of moderating. He did a very good job.
To be honest with you, I thought he was trash. I'm not even gonna lie.
He did a very good job, given the circumstances that he was given. Like, he did a good job.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think it was trash, and then we can move on. Trash is definitely ill-advised. I don't think he did that well of a job, right? That's what I will say. The reason I'll say that is because, like, for you to be a moderator, number one, apparently he was the one who asked the questions. Apparently he was the one who organized the questions. Number one, I thought the questions there were some dumb questions. Like, they should have been talking about other things. Like, how in God's name did they talk about Black Lives Matter, race for like 1 minute? Like, do you know that debate was about an hour and a half long, and they talked about race within the same breath as rioting for a total of about a minute or a minute and a half. It was very short. And I saw some people point this out as well online. Thought that was, I noticed that during the debate as well. From a preparation standpoint, that was trash. Secondly, he did his best, I suppose, trying to contain Trump. But come on, man. He needed to be a little bit more demonstrative. I get he's the president, but nah. You can't disrupt a debate like Trump did and think that, like, you can't have more to say to try to get Trump to calm the fuck down. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Who the hell do you think can calm Trump down?
Bro,
who
somebody got to get to calm
down? Don Lemon?
Yo, you know who needed to moderate? Terry Crews. Get Terry Crews as the moderator.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry.
Kanye Jackson.
Kanye West as moderator would have calmed Trump down. How much you want to bet?
No. Kanye West. No.
All right. Okay. I think he could have did a better job. I'm telling you, man. Because they just would have been, they just would have buddy with it. He would have calmed down for Kanye.
Kanye West would have made it about himself. He would have asked questions of, like, So yeah, the presidency is all good though, but like, why you ain't trying to put me as a billionaire in Forbes though? I mean, come on.
Listen, man. Yeah, let's move on, man. In other news, apparently Trump caught the Rona, and also no, him and Melania supposedly, right, caught Rona.
Yeah.
And
a bunch of other people that are on his like team.
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't believe it. I'm sorry to say, I don't know if I broke anyone's hearts.
Conspiracy theory number one. That's the first of the show.
Bro, that's my middle
theory.
That's my middle name, man. Let's listen. First and foremost, has anybody out there seen House of Cards, the actual TV show with Kevin Spacey, the one that had multiple seasons that ultimately got canceled because you saw what?
I saw a few episodes, maybe like 2.
Okay, fair enough. But even in those 2 episodes, you could probably follow along with where I'm going with this. Like, it's politics. If there's anything that Trump has shown, is that he's willing to play dirty and do whatever the hell he needs to do to essentially have an opinion or basically push whatever narrative he's going with. We've heard the man lie, blatantly lie, multiple times. So to me, if somebody is willing to blatantly lie and it's been confirmed that they lie and they're called out when they lie and they still lie, I can't trust anything that comes out of your mouth. I'm sorry. I'm that type of person.
But you can't trust the doctors that tested him. You can't trust everybody around that got the COVID that was around him either.
Let me ask you something. Who are the doctors that confirmed this test? Are these out of the White House camp? Or was it an independent doctor that gave him the damn test, huh? Which one was it?
Well, listen, I don't know. But that same doctor gave tests to Chris Christie, who got it now. I believe Hope Hicks. Do they all not have it?
Bro, it's just highly convenient.
He's in Walter Reed, right? He went to Walter Reed.
Bro, I mean, the timing is beyond suspicious. I'm sorry.
I agree.
It's beyond suspicious. Like, come on, man.
I agree.
Let's just be real.
At the same time, it's not surprising because he was doing freaking rallies with people not wearing masks.
Yeah,
outside with people shaking hands and all kinds of crazy ass stuff. Like, it's not crazy.
I think it's not crazy. One thing I think is hilarious is in the debate, just to go back to it real quick, he was getting at Biden for wearing a mask. He was like, Biden was like, yeah, I wear a mask. And Trump was like, yeah, I wear a mask too. He said, but come on, Biden. Like, he said, come on, Joe. Every time I see you wearing that big mask, it's you got the big mask on your face. Why is it so big? he was clowning Biden for wearing a big ass mask. He's like, every time I see you in a picture in a campaign, you're wearing that mask of yours, that big mask. Why? And the guy who's saying that is the one that got corona. Like, that's just weird.
That is backwards. Hell of a karma. I've never seen karma that big. That is karma. That is the definition of karma. You put that in the dictionary right now. What's the definition of karma? That's an example. That is karma.
Either that or Dave East. I'm not sure. You might see both of them. Who knows? Anyway, man, let's move the hell on, man. I'm tired of talking about this shit, honestly. What's next? What we got? NFL.
The recent NFL COVID test, man.
Sticking on the COVID train, man, a bunch of stuff came out over the last, 2 days that number one, Cam Newton contracted coronavirus, the starting quarterback of the Patriots, which puts the next game that they're going to play versus, I believe, the Chiefs, right, in jeopardy. And then you got all the players on the damn Tennessee Titans catching the coronavirus. I think the NFL is in trouble, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago with Coey. Shout out to her. When she was on our episode, and we were talking about that. And yeah, they got a big trouble because players are traveling, right? Unlike the NBA, where they went into a bubble, they went into a secluded environment where they could control who is in the environment by doing what they call contact tracing, with the exams and getting rapid results, right?
Yeah.
That's a completely different scenario than what the NFL is doing. The NFL is over here moving around like there ain't no fucking pandemic going around. Like, if it wasn't for the simple fact that they tell me that the stands are not filled, I wouldn't think anything was different. Like, the games are still happening on Sunday. The teams are clearly still traveling to different states, playing these people. I think the NFL is gonna shut down, man. Give it about 1 to 2 weeks, man. This shit is gonna go. It's gonna turn upside down, in my opinion. They're gonna pause the NFL. That's my prediction.
Yeah,
give it 2 weeks.
The problem that we have as human beings is after you get through like a couple of days and you're like, oh, no COVID tests, you start to get more relaxed. You start to get more relaxed. That's what that's who COVID ravages. People that are not relaxed, people that kind of just jump to conclusions that, oh, COVID's gone. We haven't, man, we just played like 19 games and COVID's over with. Even myself, I'm putting myself in that box. Like, when COVID first came around, I'm over here wiping down everything. I'm putting, hand sanitizer every 5 minutes, even when I didn't even go anywhere. Like, as time has gone by, I've got more relaxed. NFL, I think, probably got relaxed. Or some players got relaxed. They're like, I didn't feel it the first week, 2 weeks. And that's what COVID, that's the problem with COVID. You can't relax. And so the NFL, in my opinion, they're going to need a different strategy if you want to finish this season. I mean, if you want to do like bubble where everybody plays in Idaho or something like that, I think that will work. But the traveling thing, I think, is just too risky. We need to take this whatever you want to call it, disease. We need to take it seriously.
Right.
Like, it ain't no joke.
I think the problem is that these professional leagues, and I'm gonna throw NCAA in this too, and all of those damn conferences that got their eyes on the money, the advertising dollars, the sponsorships that they've already been paid out, or the money that's on the line that they will lose if they forfeit the season. So to me, it's clear that these organizations are seriously considering the money that they're going to lose over health. And so you ask yourself, if you're a player or you're somebody that's in that environment, do you do what you got to do and just like stay home? Like a lot of players did in the NBA and the NFL as well. Like some players didn't report to camp. No one notable, because it would have been a bigger story if it was
the whole
Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes said, I'm not playing this season, it would have been a big story, right? So my point is, there's too much money at stake. And I think, I think that's the dilemma that these organizations, the NFL, the NBA, the NCAA, Big Ten, all of these damn people, they're outweighing the money over the safety of these players. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous.
I mean, if we being real, I'm a sports fan. I'm a major sports fan. If we're being real, we should not have sports right now. Like, as much as the NBA playoffs and stuff has been fun, I don't think it was worth it. I really don't think it was worth it. Like, in my opinion, they should have just prepared for next season where things are going to look a little more normal and just scrap this season. In NFL, I don't think they should have played, especially because, remember, the NFL are entering their prime is winter. What has all these doctors been saying about winter? The coronavirus mixed with the flu season is going to cause major issues. You don't know what the hell this coronavirus and this pandemic is going to look like in the next couple of months. Like, these NFL players, what are they doing? They are slating these NFL players to play in the snow, in the rain, things that can make you sicker, put you in environments where your nose is going to be running. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be coughing, sneezing. You're playing in inclement weather, and then you're going to go back home. That's like
Yeah.
the perfect storm for disaster.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, if I'm being real, sports should not be played right now. And if you're going to play it, maybe in a bubble, maybe. But NBA, I don't think it was worth it. Baseball was not worth it. Hockey was not worth it. And now it just comes down to money. And yes, you're going to lose money, but
look, man, I'm not even gonna lie. You know, the problem, the hard part about this is we're not those players, and we don't know what it feels like to have to make a multi-million-dollar decision that can literally be the difference between you maintaining the lifestyle that you already have or you obtaining the lifestyle that you've never had. Like some of these, they got rookies in the league that they've never made this type of money, right? These contracts, they might be guaranteed, but come on, man. Like a lot of these dudes are like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to just take the odds. I'm going to take the chances. And I'm not mad at anybody for doing that. And so, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough. But on a lighter note, my fantasy team is 0-3, and that shit is like driving me crazy. I want to know how the NFL and all of these players that are contracting coronavirus impacts fantasy. Like that's really what I want to know, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to know how that impacts it as well. See, for me, hey, I'm 0-3, so if the season ends now or is on a hiatus, I'm not mad. I'm like, hey, man, you know, it's cool. But if I'm number one in my league right now, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, nah,
with
man.
money, if money's involved, woo-wee.
Exactly. So I don't know. You guys let us know though if your fantasy team is in jeopardy or not, and what do you think they should do with the fantasy league? What we talking about? FanDuel, DraftKings, Yahoo, ESPN, whatever the case is. How should they change the rules to impact what's going on in the world with these players? Let us know, man. That was a good segment, man. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yes, sir.
Shall we talk about some new music, sir?
I think that's what we do, right?
Let's give the people what they want, man. That's why they came here.
Right? So let's do it.
That's why they came here, man. Let's do that.
Guess what time it is? It's time to talk about the best albums that came out in the last couple of weeks. It's our Watch the Throne segment. The first one I think we should tackle is Tory Lanez's DAYSTAR album. Tory Lanez is very controversial DAYSTAR album. What do you think about it?
Controversial indeed. You know, I want to make something very clear before I even talk about the music, or even just the album and what the album means and yada yada. Everybody knows what the hell has been accused and said in the media. We don't need to rehash that. We know who accused who of what. We know Megan Thee Stallion accused Tory Lanez of shooting her. We know Tory Lanez, if you heard the album, said I didn't do it. Let's put that aside. At the end of the day, we don't know what's true. This is the statement. If I'm issuing a press release for the podcast, we don't know what's true. We're just consuming the music, period. That's from our PR team officially speaking. Now, we have a music show. We talk about music commentary. That's what we do. How can a music album, especially one this controversial, especially one from a dude, Tory Lanez, is this talented, how can he drop and we not talk about it? You know, like, I don't want to be one of these platforms, these people out here that are staying away from these touchy subjects. We are called the ill-advised wise guys for a reason. Okay, can we stick true? We're gonna stick true to that name. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna put that aside. Tory Lanez dropped a new album called DAYSTAR. For those of you guys who are not familiar with what DAYSTAR means, that's actually Tory Lanez's first name, which is a very odd name. But he put it in caps. And I don't really know. I'm assuming that's Tory Lanez on the album cover. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's him. I always like when artists put their baby pictures and childhood pictures on the cover. Like, that's just always tight to me. That will never not be tight. The music, though, I thought was very good. I mean, Tory Lanez is a phenomenal musician. What do you guys want me to say? What do you want me to say? You want me to cancel him? You want me to say that his music is not good because he's being accused of things in the media? I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. But what I will do is I will address and listen to the music in the best way I know possible, and that's consuming it and trying to figure out whether it's fire or not. I thought that from a substance and content standpoint, I thought Tory Lanez did an incredible job at flipping what many people will call a negative into a positive, right? People criticize Tory Lanez about the release of an entire album addressing his allegations. I will agree that's a little distasteful. It seems a little off. That something quite doesn't feel right. Leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I will agree with you guys. But I'm not about to go any further than that, because if anyone out there is an artist, and I know everyone's not an artist, but if you are an artist, and I am one, I used to be one, I get it. I understand the power of music. Music is not just entertainment for people, as people think. A lot of it is therapeutic. A lot of it is them actually addressing real shit in their lives and them venting. It's how people get through with things. And so if they're going to make $1 off of their name and address a body of work and allegations in the best form that they know how, I can't be mad at somebody for doing that. We get into the music, and I got to tell you guys, this album is phenomenal. It starts off with a banger. Money Over Fallouts. Tory Lanez is addressing his critics. I mean, come on, man. What do you guys want me to do? The song is tight. Like, it's one of the best songs on the album. Like, for real. Incredible song. For real, for real. He's rapping his ass off. And here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of people who probably didn't know who Tory Lanez was before all of this, shit. And they probably heard about him now. I want to let y'all know who I'm talking to for this particular moment, that this is what Tory Lanez does. If you were wild or you were amazed at the music that you heard on this album, please, I want you guys to understand that this is regular. That's regular. Tory Lanez is an incredible artist. Money Over Fallouts is typical Tory Lanez in his element, rapping his ass off aggressively, just being arrogant, doing what he does. He did a really good job at switching it up on various parts of the album, right? Next song was A Woman, very vulnerable joint. So without going through all of the songs on the album, because it was a very dynamic album, I'm just going to point out some of my favorites. Money Over Fallouts, I talked about it. Friends Become Strangers, very, very good song. Sorry, But I Had To. Can make an argument that's one of the better songs in the album. A Poem From Me to You. I don't know why he sounded like DMX on that. That was just strange. Like, why did he write a poem where he was rapping? He sounded exactly like DMX. And a dog with a gun light. And I don't know why the dudes is hating.
What you know about DMX poems? What the hell you know about that in his prayer?
Me? You're not talking to me.
Again, nigga, the break.
Listen, all I want to hear is right here, my nigga. We nigga. Listen, DMX is my dude. I told you guys all the time, DMX is the first album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. It's the first album I ever owned. That's my man. We're not about to have a debate about DMX. Anyway, Most High. The Most High is just the joint he shot a video for. Incredible video. You need to check that out from an artistic standpoint. Look How God Works and Queen and Slim round out my favorite songs from the album. I thought, again, the album was very dynamic. He showed a lot of vulnerability. He expressed his opinion on his accusations. He switched up his flows. He sounded like everybody in the game, like he always does. And I don't even think that's an insult at this point, because I feel like he's doing it on purpose. This album is great. I am going to give this album a solid B, because it deserves it, and it's arguably going to get a higher grade from me. And I really want to say this is going to be controversial. This album deserves album of the year status. I'm sorry. The quality of music, what the album meant, the tone, everything about this album to me screams like album of the year candidate. It's not going to win it. I'm just saying it should be regarded. If it wasn't for the allegations, it should be in there. I've been talking for a long time about the album. I want to know what you have to say, though, man. This is a phenomenal album.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. Why is it only a B? What was why isn't it an A?
I knew that question was coming. Here's my answer. This album is a B because to me, there were parts of the album that didn't quite hit for me. While Tory Lanez does not make bad music, I can honestly say towards the end of the album, it got a little flat. Like, I promise you, like after Queen and Slim, like the What's Culture, I wasn't really feeling it like that personally. The Solar Drive at Night, it's all right. Bittersweet is cool, but I didn't love it. And then things I should have, like, to me, it started out well. The first half of the album was really good, and I just thought musically it didn't really match the first half. This is my personal opinion. So to me, I had to knock it a little bit, but again, it's not bad music. It's just it wasn't all the way fire. Every song to me wasn't consistently fire. It had a drop off. That's my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. Just a question. No wrong answer. My favorite Tory Lanez album is I Told You. I've replayed Tory Lanez, I Told You, over and over again. It's kind of my go-to album when I just feel like hearing music, period. I can honestly say that this album is his best, DAYSTAR, from a quality of music standpoint and from just in terms of important. Like it's intriguing, it's important, it's meaningful. It's his most important album to date. Here's the thing about Tory Lanez, right? Before the whole Megan Thee Stallion situation came about, he was like as close to reaching his pinnacle as an artist, as close to reaching the best version of himself as an artist. So I wasn't surprised by the quality of music. You throw this situation into the fray, and now you have a person that is still striving to be the best version of himself with a chip on his shoulder. Now, let's be real. Tory Lanez's situation with Megan Thee Stallion is a situation that I actually personally thought he needed expertise. Like, you need experts to get yourself out of this situation. Like, you actually need like a group of, I don't know what you would want to call it, a group of people that just know, spin artists. You would need ultimate spin artists to get yourself out of this situation. Like, this is, you know how Denver Nuggets were getting out of the NBA playoffs, 3-1, 3-1. This is if you got out of a 7-1 hole in the NBA playoffs. And so I'm not here to tell people, the world, that Tory Lanez got himself out of this sticky situation with Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not here to tell people with this album, Tory Lanez is now somebody we can all open up with open arms. I personally don't think he'll ever become that. Even if he came out as innocent, I don't think he'll ever get back to where he was in terms of how he was viewed by his peers and people. But, however, he did an amazing job of cutting his losses. This album was, forget the music. Forget F the music. This is ill-advised wise, guys. We are paid to be ill-advised. Forget the music. The music's great. I'm not surprised by that. He's a great rapper. He's a great singer. I mean, look at the performances that he put up. The second song on the album. Did you see that performance that he put, or did you hear that performance he put up as a vocalist? Somebody who was reaching crazy ass notes and just switching up styles of music. fantastic. I'm not surprised by that. He is somebody I've continuously said is probably the best artist in music today. I've said that multiple times, and I continue to say that. He's like the best artist in hip-hop music, especially hip-hop music today. Not surprised by the music. But let's be real. This was an artist that was telling his truth and doing it in a way that was beyond intriguing, beyond riveting. Like, I had to play investigator while I was listening to this joint. I had to literally put on my Dateline hat. I felt like I was listening to a music version of Dateline. Yo, whoa, he's attacking Kalani. Whoa, he's attacking JoJo. Whoa, he's opening up about his Megan Thee Stallion relationship. Whoa, like he's over here calling out rappers and saying people are being they're being hypocrites. Like, for him, the bravery to make this album, the scrotums that you gotta have to make an album like this in this climate is I gotta give him credit for that. I got to give him credit for that. Like, you know what I love? I love when people take advantage of the situations that they're put in. I love that. Like, you know, at a certain point, Chris Brown, right? Somebody that faced a very similar situation with the whole Rihanna thing. Before Chris Brown had his situation with Rihanna, Chris Brown was making bubblegum music. Literally making bubblegum music. I'm talking about, he was in a commercial. He was in a Wrigley's commercial for bubblegum or whatever, gum, right? He was literally making bubblegum music. Situation with Rihanna happened. Everybody want to call him a bad boy. He played the bad boy role as good as anybody can. And to me, I think his career actually got as good as it gets. I can honestly say Chris Brown probably would have been irrelevant if he did not turn into this bad boy. He would have been he would have been irrelevant. He would have been irrelevant if he did not. Personally, I think the bad boy R&B look is so good for him. It's so next level. And that happened as a result of the whole Rihanna situation. I'm not sitting here saying he's a good dude or anything for the whole Rihanna situation, but I forgive him. But, you know, that situation looked bad. Tory Lanez, I love the fact that Tory Lanez didn't sit here and give us a sob story. He didn't sit here and be like, yo, I'm about to just tame it down and say sorry. He's willing to play villain on the album. He's willing to play innocent person on the album. He's willing to call out people that he feels wasn't on his side. Like, if you just think about the music in that point of view, the approach, it is a phenomenal body of work. And like I said, I'm not on his side. I'm not picking sides with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. At the end of the day, I don't know what the hell happened in that car. I know what I believe, but I don't know what the hell happened. But from a standpoint of trying to dig yourself out of a hole, from a standpoint of the whole world is against you and you drop that is equivalent to you are an NBA player that everybody thinks you're trash and you got one game to win to keep your career alive and you drop 50. That's what Tory Lanez did to me, and that's why I'm so impressed with it, man.
I like that, and I want to say one thing before I even go any further. You know, I already know what people are gonna say. Not that I even give a damn, but I already know what people are gonna say. But it's worth acknowledging. Amongst all of this, someone actually got hurt. Like, Megan Thee Stallion legit, right? According to her, she was injured. She said she got shot. She showed pictures. We're not about to debate on whether or not she's telling the truth, because we honestly don't know one way or the other. Both people are defiantly saying one way or the other. She said she got hurt. We got to acknowledge that. Black women are being hurt. We have to acknowledge that type of pain. However, within the same token, there are people who, to me, have a voice as well. And I think Tory, like you said, is speaking his truth. We don't know what happened. But I'll be honest, there were parts of this album where I said to myself, man, is Tory telling the truth? Like, what? Like, I got chills on various parts of this album. And I already know you fuck with Tory's music on that level where you probably get chills as well. The fact that you said you listened to I Told You mad times, to me, lets me know how you feel about that album. Like it's beyond music with you, right? It's like the music, it resonates so well that it's no longer music. It's kind of just like, it's an experience, right? How Tory Lanez was talking at the end of Sorry But I Had To, where he was like, yo, I'm Super Saiyan 5. He was very demonstrative. That's Tory Lanez, but I got chills. And I just want to put that in perspective for people that we don't know what's true and we don't know what's not true. But what we do know is that Tory Lanez had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to drop an entire body of work where he is seen as the villain. And I think he plays the villain quite well because, again, his first album was called I Told You. To me, that's already you coming out the gate with a chip on your shoulder. He's used to that role. This is a little bit different because he is now being accused of doing something violent. But nonetheless, he is used to being the David in the David and Goliath type situation. It's clear to me. And so with that being said, musically speaking, which is what we are here for mainly on this show, I got to give it up to Tory, man. He delivered on this project, and it was very impressive. Very impressive. Because I think most people would fold. Most people would fold. They would go in the corner. And I ain't even going to say I wouldn't do the same. I might fold. I don't even know what I would do, right? But to me, I'm watching this, and I'm like, for someone to be accused of something like this, to be vilified for months online, to be crossed by his friends in the industry, maybe even some of them he thought was real friends, right? He was supposedly dating Megan Thee Stallion, so he was crossed by her too, if he's saying she's lying. So this is a guy, we got to put ourselves in the mind of someone who feels like they've been unjustly crucified, right? And there weren't any criminal charges still, as of today, to back up any of those claims. Listen, I don't know what's true, but what I know is true is that this album is fire. End of story. And for those of you guys who choose to not listen to it because of the circumstances, hey, that's on you. But just know you're missing out on a fire album. I have to point that out. This album is fire.
It's fair. I mean, in the end of the day, what is music? What is the purpose of music? Like, why do a lot of people listen to music? Is because they want music to feel good, to make them feel good. If you have anger towards somebody, because remember, like, this situation kind of highlights domestic abuse, it highlights violence, and it can be a trigger for certain people where it's like, man, I was in a relationship where somebody did something like that to me too. And let's be real. Tory Lanez is a very unlikable person. I've said that to you
1,000%.
This podcast, he's a very before this happened.
1,000%.
Very unlikable.
He's been very goofball-y. He's done a lot of goofball shit. Bitch ass shit on numerous occasions.
I mean, his arrogance rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But you got to remember, like, Joker's winning Oscars. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest characters in the movie history was Laz, to me, in my opinion. Alonzo from Training Day. Denzel Washington, that character, that's the greatest character Denzel Washington has ever played, in my opinion. And we talking about, he's played an angel. He's played with the preacher's wife. To me, his greatest character was he played drug dealer.
He played Malcolm X.
So exactly. So at the end of the day, man, you can say you don't like Tory Lanez and all that, and I get it. And some people don't like the villain, but the performance that he put up as the villain, as someone who is literally trying to win back the hearts of a lot of people that put him in the dirt, that is I can't lie. It was impressive. It was impressive.
I gotta say the same.
Still reaching his peak.
Yeah. Yeah, we could probably go into a little bit more depth, but I think that's a good cap on the album. I do want to get your grade. What was your grade?
About an A-. I thought it was a fantastic body of work. fantastic. If you listen to the quality of the music, I understand that you said some songs didn't hit you, but if you listen to the quality of those songs, they're fantastic. It's unlike something I've heard in a while. I've not heard this level of music, this level of edginess, this level of versatility, this level of quality. Even the instrumentals that he rapped over were fantastic. Like, I've not heard this level of music in a while. So
yeah, it's a riveting project. It's a riveting project. Like, just, yeah, it was great. I respect those who don't want to check it out though. I really do. So that, I mean, that's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, we can listen. Y'all don't have to listen to it, but I'm just saying, if you're on the fence, because there are people on the fence. There's a lot of people who are like, I don't like what this stands for, but I like Tory Lanez music, but I don't want to support it. I'm just letting y'all know, if you do decide to listen, just know that the shit is fire. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And another thing too is, you know, I would probably say more people chose not to listen to it. They chose to listen to it. And so. I will say, we talked about this offline. Probably this is gonna be the last comment I say. I noticed that a lot of reputable music blogs, music sites, a lot of influencers in music decided not to touch it also. There was actually, I was looking at some of the search results for the album, and I believe it was either Vibe. I don't want to get this wrong. It was a big magazine site or whatever, literally said this album is worse than a bad album.
Nah,
like it was clear and obvious biasness. I mean, it was pretty much saying that it was like a person is something that like we should not be applauding as good, and I've heard that a lot.
So you remember how, and to be honest with you, we could probably off of the Tory convo. Maybe we can come back to this at a later episode. Maybe we can do this now. Maybe we can do this at the end of this episode. I don't know. Or maybe we could not talk about it at all. The topic I have out of this whole Tory Lanez discussion, though, that I noticed is, to me, this is why music is subjective, right? Because there's real world implications that impact how you receive music, right? So can I say that those people are wrong? I mean, granted, we can debate whether or not a publication should be biased or unbiased. That's not what I'm getting at. But I'm saying, are we going to be mad that somebody chooses to do something with their platform and say, I'm not going to support it? And so what do real world implications do for the listener and how they receive music? Because to me, it's clear that the world impacts the way you receive music. It just means something different to every person. Every person has their own threshold.
I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Well, I agree with that. Let me tell you actually a funny story real quick. I know we keep extending it, but real quick, let me tell you a funny story. I went to a rogue church. I'm going to call it a rogue church. Where people were over here talking about they were prophets, giving me money, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there, you know, African church, like, is craziness, right? Mm-hmm. But there was something that somebody said in that church that struck a chord with me. The person said, in this church right now, like, if Jesus was sitting in this church right now, he would have no problem if the devil was sitting there with him. Like, he would have no problem, because it's one of those things that you have to be able to endure the things that are here to hurt you. You have to be able to say, hey, like, I don't want to, you're letting it win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're letting the devil win when you're not able to sit face to face with the devil and attack the devil, or you're not able to put up with some of the evilness that comes around. You know how they always talk about Martin Luther King was the one that would sit at the table with the oppressors? Mm-hmm. You know, so when I heard that comment, it changed my mindset to where I need to learn to be able to listen to things that I may not necessarily agree with. I need to be able to, something that's toxic, withstand, be in the ring with something that's topic. Ironically, you said on Most High, Tory Lanez is fighting the devil, right? He's in the ring with the devil.
Bro, you got to watch it. I was just about to bring that up. That was
I
exactly.
saw a snippet of it, but it's like you got to be able to do that. So for me, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not nowhere near close to Vibe or any magazine or people that didn't want to cover it. Right. But I think there is value in being able to not agree with somebody, not even think that what the person did is evil, but to be able to sit there and actually have a conversation about what that evilness brought. So like if you're somebody that thinks Tory Lanez is trash and something, whatever, I think you become a stronger person if you're able to listen to it and take it, because that makes you stronger. I'll tell you, the funny thing is, I never listened to Yeezus. This is before I was a reviewer, before we had the podcast, I never listened to Yeezus. I never listened to the game's Jesus, what album? Jesus Peace. I never listened to it because I was like, I can't stand these people like putting these blasphemous like thoughts into albums. I skipped it. Still to this day, I've not listened to Yeezus. I listened to maybe a snippet or a song or two, but I was like, I can't listen to a full album of somebody calling themselves Yeezus. He has a song called Featuring God. And I was like, that's blasphemous. But now, like, my mindset now is like, yo, like, I need to be able to withstand such blasphemous, come out the winner in these situations, come out not fazed by it. You don't want to be fazed by the devil. That's how you beat the devil.
That's a good point. Hey, you heard Kanye West's recent album. What's the shit called?
Jesus is King now.
Right? So now he's giving praise to Jesus and not saying that Jesus is on the album as a feature. Like did he give so on Yeezus, did he give God like a percentage of the record? Like how did that work? Like
but tithing, right? It's better do the tithing.
I don't know, man. But yeah, no. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, dude.
Because essentially, sorry, let me say this. Essentially, what Tory Lanez was able to do was to get some major reputable people to not do their job. If your job is to highlight the best music, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, he made them not do their job because he had you in your feelings so much you didn't even want to post about it.
Right. Yeah. Ultimately for me, my position on, whether or not a music publication should cover music at all costs is that they should do just that. Like, stop putting stop making biased stand. Now, listen, there are exceptions. I want to say that. If someone did some pedophilia, like if there were like something that was clearly problematic to where they were convicted and there was a whole bunch of other shit that, like there has to be more to where to me, you have to stand on taking those types of positions. This is just my opinion. But until then, to me, you're a publication. Cover the artist. Like here, I'll give you another example. Remember when XXXTentacion music got taken off of Spotify, the Spotify playlist, because he was going through that domestic violence court case with his baby mom, right? It took his music off of playlisting and all of that shit. They did the same thing with R. Kelly, like took all of his music off of playlisting. And while they have the right, they as in Spotify and all these other platforms have the right to do it, I'm not questioning their right. I'm questioning their consistency and their mentality with why they do it. Like, I just feel like these publications are too fickle and they move at the whim of the crowd. As soon as there's an uproar, they fold, right? Mm-hmm. What happened after XXXTentacion died? All of his music went back on the playlist. So now is it, and actually, by the way, it went back well before he died. I want to be very clear, right? It was very, very brief where they took it off, but then they put it right back on. I just think a lot of people put their their personal feelings and mix it in with business and mix it in with things that are not really of concern to, in my opinion. And I think that's misguided. I really do. It's misguided.
It's irresponsible because the case is pending.
Correct.
It's irresponsible. The case is pending. Now, you can believe what you want to believe, but nobody has been found guilty. I don't even think Tory Lanez has been charged yet.
Bro, he hasn't been charged with he has not been charged with the alleged accusation. Sorry, he hasn't been charged with the accusation. I'll say that.
Hip hop is,
come on, man.
Hip hop in general is dark. Like, let's be real. So if we really wanted to cancel all the crazy stuff, like we would cancel all the drug talk. Like, you can let them talk about drugs, you can let them talk about hoes, you can let them talk about all this stuff, but when it actually happens, you're like, oh my God, I'm so shocked. They talk about it in their music, like a lot of people.
Yo, anyway. I'll say this last thing before and then we can move on. On Tory Lanez's song, "The Most High," he basically had a part in the song. And the video, again, you got to check the video out. That shit is phenomenal. Anyway, he's rapping like Slick Rick, right? And he said, never would I have seen the day that rap dudes is telling the cops to come for me, right? Like, I heard that, bro. Like, most people are gonna hear that and be like, man, but like he did it though. Like, he should be taken for a crime. And it's like, well, believe whatever you want to believe. Tory Lanez is simply highlighting the hypocrisy in music. And while I do think he has a point, I think you guys need to really understand that there is a lot of hypocrisy in this industry, in the world, and you should not get caught up in that shit, man. Take a position and keep the same energy. Now, if you find out new information that changes your energy, stand on that. But don't just be flipping and flopping with the wind. Like, when the wind pushes you this way, oh, well, I guess I'm over here. Oh, the wind took me over. Oh, I guess I'm over here. No, stand on something. And just be firm. That's my only thing. That's what I don't like about people, especially online. And people are just so fucking wishy-washy.
It's so easy too. Like, for me, like, remember when we talked about this situation with Megan Thee Stallion a couple weeks ago? I purposely said, if he is guilty of these crimes, then that's really bad. If that's all you gotta say. Like, do the post. Nobody's gonna get mad at you that you did the post. Like, do a post or talk about the music or listen to it. Nobody's gonna get mad at you, and just say if he's guilty of this crime, or I don't necessarily believe him. Because remember, I told you I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who to believe, but if I were to guess, I believe more Megan than Tory. But I'm saying that's my belief. That's just my opinion from all this stuff. I'm not saying that's facts. That's just my opinion. That's it. What's wrong with giving an opinion about the situation?
And guess what? Everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion. And if I'm wrong,
come on.
If I'm wrong, like, I'm wrong. You know,
how is everybody getting upset at somebody else for having an opinion? It's crazy. But anyway, let's move on, man. Let's move on. I think we deep dived that conversation longer than I think we wanted to, but I think it was necessary.
It was a meaningful conversation. It was a meaningful.
For sure. Let's keep it pushing though. The next project that we have to discuss is 21 Savage and Metro Boomin's new project, Savage Mode 2. What do you think about this album, bro?
21. I want to read, you know what? Let's start this differently. As you know, my site, really good site, one of the greatest sites of all time. That's what Donald Trump said. He said, the greatest site, I've never seen a site like this ever before. It's a site that is impeccable, I believe. Somebody on my site, he said, I want to read this. This is what he thought about the album, and I thought it was the greatest comment ever. Super neutral album. Favorite track? None. Least favorite track? None. Album rating? Neutral out of 10. Never heard an album so neutral in my life. It's not good. It's not bad. I'm at a loss for words. Nothing was fire. Nothing was trash. Lyrics were also neutral. I have no emotion. And the funny thing is, I get exactly where he's coming from with that comment. So what I said that was kind of close to what he said was everything I expected that album to sound like, what I expected that album to be is exactly what it was. Like, to me, is exactly what I expected that album to be and sound like. One thing we don't talk about, how much of an improvement 21 Savage has made as a rapper. Like 21 Savage makes leaps and bounds every single time I hear him. Like when I first heard him on, ironically, the first body of work that I heard him on was Savage Mode with Metro Boomin. Like what was that, 2016? The one that had the joint with Future, and it had what was the song? I'm just stunting on my ex. That song. Do you know, like, in my opinion, if you go back and listen to that album, he was not that good a rapper. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He was not that good. He had some slap there. He had songs that slap. You know that? Yeah, that's your favorite word. He had songs that slap. He had joints that bang, like whatever, bumps. But he was not that great of a rapper. The improvement that he made from Savage Mode to his debut album, to the I Am versus I Was album, and to now, he is a very appealing rapper. He has punchlines for days. He demands respect every time he gets on the mic. He is a phenomenal rapper that just keeps getting better. And I think his rap performance on this album was fantastic. Like he just definitely knows how to keep you glued to your seat when you're listening to him rap. But crazy statement number one. This is the first crazy statement I've made on this show so far. I'm gonna be real with you. There are a lot of producers in this world right now. There have been a lot of producers in hip hop history. I am prepared to say Metro Boomin is probably the best producer I've ever heard in my life. Okay, let me just keep it at hip hop. Let me just keep it at hip hop because people are gonna be like Quincy Jones. Maybe we can have like a poll. Who is the best producers of all time? Maybe I'll do that. Metro Boomin.
Yeah, we should put together a list. Let's put together a list
because we're talking Neptunes, Timbaland, Dr. Dre.
We talking about
bad. Swiss Beats.
Yeah, Swiss Beats. You said Timberland. It's a bunch, man. There's a bunch.
There's a lot of producers. There's great producers. Puff Daddy and the Hitmen. Let's not forget about that. What they did for Biggie, Life After Death.
Yeah.
But Metro Boomin's production skills are next level. Yo, come on, man. Like if you give that album, 21 Savage put up like a B performance, I would say. A+ production wise. Like Metro Boomin knows how to make beats that are cinematic, riveting, but then they still stay true to their trap like elements. Like the production on the album is the best thing about it, and just like the production on all the stuff Metro Boomin is involved in. Metro Boomin beats everybody that he collaborates with on albums. Tell me I'm a liar. If you tell me go ahead, tell me I'm lying. Say I'm lying.
No. You're not lying.
Savage Mode, and I'm not even saying he beats them by like a little bit of a margin. He blows out the people that he collaborates with on albums, and the people he's blowing out are good rappers too. But Savage Mode 2 is great. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much. Metro Boomin for president.
I would make the assumption that there was a lot of hyperbole and sarcasm in that review. However, I do believe you feel that way to a degree. You're just exaggerating. So I'm gonna give you a chance to clean it up. I'm gonna give you a chance to clean it up if you want to. Otherwise, I'll give my review. So, would you like the floor or no? Are you good?
Okay, what would you like me to clean up? Let's see. Metro Boomin.
I just want you to.
He's one of the top 30 producers I've ever heard in my life.
Listen. I'm not telling you to clean anything up. Yo,
top 30. Top 30.
I was about to say, he's top 29. He's top one, not whatever. Y'all know what the hell.
Don't you just love that? You could just say somebody is top. Man, he's top 100. But I'm not gonna tell you where he is in the 100. I'll just say he's top 100.
I just had. That's funny you say that. I just had a conversation with some dude. We was talking about rap. He was talking about rap, and actually no. I was talking to this artist. His name is Manny. Shout out to him. But anyway, we were having a conversation about freestylers. Who's the best freestyler, right? And for whatever reason, he said J. Cole, and I couldn't understand why he said that. And I love J. Cole, but I didn't agree with that. But that's besides the point. What I was harping on was him saying J. Cole is one of the best, and I was like, yo, we gotta stop saying that shit. We gotta stop saying one of, because let's be specific. All right, like we need to start being more specific in these discussions, because if that's the case, I can go around saying everything is one of the best. But if you want me to start ranking things, then you wouldn't think they're one of the best at that point. Like I was like, okay, one of the best. Okay, cool. So are you talking about top 10, top 5 that you ever heard? Top 20, top 30? Like when I started going into that type of detail, the energy started to shift, right? So all I'm saying is, let's just be a little specific when we make these remarks. We talking about he a top 10 producer. Now you're forced to really stand on and really start ranking dudes how you believe they are in that rank. So anyway, that's besides the point. This album. You know what this album said to me? This was a prime example. Savage Mode 2 was a prime example of why, if you are an artist and you're not the best lyricist, you're not the most entertaining, you're not the most, you have the most personality. Even though I believe 21 Savage has a lot of personality and he low-key is a very good rapper. He is above average to me as a rapper. It didn't start that way, like you said, but at this point, to me, he is average to above average, and on most performances, I would actually say he's above average. Besides the point. Production is everything. I'm sorry. The days of y'all not acknowledging that producers and beat makers and engineers should be coveted and elevated at the highest levels needs to stop today. I'm sorry. That needs to stop, because the fact that we can listen to this album, Savage Mode 2, and the dude on your site said the album is neutral. And while I do understand where Homeboy's coming from, like you said, production-wise, A+. Can you imagine if the production was a C? Right? Like, imagine if the production was a C. You want to guess what that dude would have said about the album and that rating? He wouldn't have said neutral, because he would have said this album shouldn't have been released. More than likely, that would have been the response. This album should not have come out, right? So we need to start having a real appreciation for production, like I think producers would like to have. And I do love how Metro Boomin always puts himself in the forefront as that artist, right? You always see his name credited. You see him with an album. He's next to the artist. He's working with The Weeknd, right? On Weeknd's last album. He's in Weeknd's video, right? As a prominent face. And I think more producers need to start doing that, man. Like, we need to start seeing their faces. Metro Boomin is I don't want to say he's a pioneer, because he's not the first to ever do this. We've seen Swiss Beats in all the videos. He's not the first producer, but in the last 10 years, Metro Boomin is doing it better than a lot of dudes. Last 5 to 7 years, really. Metro Boomin is doing a better job at marketing his skill set better than any other producer is doing. With that being said, this album was all right. I love 21 Savage for his raw and debaucherous lyrics. You know, them shit sound downright evil. Some of the stuff that he be saying just sounds evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between shoot 'em up lyrics from Apollo G or a Smoke Perp, even though I think Smoke Perp is trash. He's a trash artist. I'm sorry. I do not like Smoke Perp. That's not about that. But I'm saying he talks a lot about killing, as do a whole lot of guys. But there's something about the way 21 Savage talks about killing people in his music that just sounds evil and tight at the same time. It almost sounds like a movie script. Like,
he sounds demented.
Bro, I could literally,
he enjoys it.
Bro, I swear I could see someone making a movie out of his albums. If Savage Mode was a movie, that joint might be a top seller in the horror category. Listen, if y'all end up doing that, make sure I give my credit. I'm telling you, that shit would sell and it would make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, the album is all right. It's all right. I just can't do any more than that. Like, I don't want to say it was neutral because I do like a few songs, but the album was all right. I would give it about a C.
I gave it a B. I mean, it's good, but
sorry, I'm in a C plus. A C plus. My bad.
It's good, but it's like I said, it's just kind of like what you expected to hear. Like, I nothing stood out. Nothing was bad. It was just like, just expected what I hear. Okay, I move on.
Exactly.
But I do find it dope that, you know, it gets me revved up for Halloween. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. I love horror movies. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's talk about your boy, Pen Griffey, Bryson Tiller. He dropped an album called Anniversary. What do you think about it?
Oh man, I'll try to be brief. I'll try. Bryson Tiller drops his, what I would say, long-awaited album. You know, he's one of those guys that doesn't really drop a whole lot of music. And unfortunately, that is sometimes a bad thing, but also it can be a good thing, right? Like, I feel like when you don't overload the customers with music, it builds the anticipation, it builds the momentum, it gives people that anticipation that they need to go click on your album and listen to it. However, I feel like Bryson Tiller is regressing. I feel like the momentum that Bryson Tiller had in the past, I would say 2 years ago, before he dropped his last album, it's kind of come to a halt for me, because while I didn't think his last album was that great, as a matter of fact, I'm blanking on the name. Do you remember the name of the album, his last one?
Shoot.
I can't remember, but
that is a good question.
Anyway, yeah, look for it. And but anyway, I remember before that album dropped, there was a lot of hype, and I feel like it was not received as well, at least by me, as well as I believe I should have received it. I was expecting him to come a little bit more with his, you know, some of the same sounds he was giving us on Trap Soul. However, he went a little left, where he was kind of being a little bit more poppy, if you remember. Like,
by the way, the album's called True to Self. By the way,
True to Self. He kind of kept it a little. He kept it true to himself, but he also went a little pop. On this album, however, I feel like his production is lacking. You know, coming off the heels of what we just talked about with 21 Savage, I feel like, again, production is everything, man. It's everything. I'm tired of not mentioning that alongside of the artists that we love, right? The artists that we talk about on a regular basis. You know, it's funny to me how the artists always get to shine, but yet the producer never does. And to me, Bryson Tiller is a prime example of the opposite of what I said about 21 Savage, in that production can sometimes be your downfall when it's not good enough. I think what Bryson Tiller does is he tries to bring you nostalgic sounds and nostalgic feelings from the 90s, where the music was much more intimate. In terms of R&B, it was much more pure. You know, you could feel the emotions in every record. And while I do think he pulls it off on a few songs on this new project, Anniversary, I feel like the majority of these songs they fall a little flat to me. And I'm saying that mainly because of the production. Like Bryson Tiller, he flat out sounded boring to me on majority of these songs. It was like listening to someone tell me about his life, but I don't care. And I shouldn't feel that way about Bryson Tiller. Like, he has shown to me that he's a better artist than that. And so, as I said, I'm going to be brief with this. In closing, what I will say is that this album was average. Like, for him to go away for over 2 years since he dropped his last project, if I'm not mistaken, and drop this, no. That's unacceptable. I'm sorry, unacceptable. And we deserve better from that. And listen, these artists know, and they listen to their fan base, and they listen to the feedback, they listen to the criticism. I firmly believe Bryson Tiller knows this is not his best work. I firmly believe he knows this is not it. Kind of reminds me of Nav, when Nav dropped the album before the last one he dropped, where he openly came out and said, yeah, that album was not it for me. I was rushing it. You know, there was a lot of things that I wish I could have did better. I believe that if Bryson Tiller ever does an interview, which he does not do interviews, but if we find out anything that is in Bryson Tiller's head, he is going to tell us something very similar to that, and this is not my best work. That's how I feel, man. And of course, I'm guessing, and it's my opinion. But overall, man, this album is average to me. So I would give it about a C. What'd you think about this, man?
I think you made several valid points. But I think it's deeper, man. I really do think it's deeper than some of the stuff that you said. First and foremost, I want to say this. Bryson Tiller's True to Self album was actually one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast. It was something that pushed me to want to do the podcast. If you remember, we used to go back and forth on whether that album was good. We used to go back and forth on, you know, what was the top songs off of it. And it really was a topic of discussion because his first album was so good, and it seemed like he was kind of lost as an artist on that second album, right? Can we just be real? Like, this is Ill-Advised Wise Guys. Can we just be honest? Maybe we were wrong about Bryson Tiller as an artist. At the time that he first came out with Don't and Exchange, those were two songs that were really dope, and they just went along with the climate of hip-hop at that time. Like, we wanted more Drake, and we wanted a different version of Drake. Drake's persona and Drake's standing in hip-hop didn't quite match the heartbreak persona that he was trying to give off. So Drake was really good at making heartbreak music, but he just didn't match that persona when you meet him in person. In 2016, Bryson Tiller matched that exact persona of a dude that doesn't mind being vulnerable. He thinks he's tight, but like, you know, women get the best of him. He matched the persona, so it was intriguing to hear songs like Don't, Exchange. Well, it's not 2016 anymore. And since then, there are a bunch of people that are just like Bryson Tiller in the hip-hop industry. There are a bunch of people that are making more transcending heartbreak music. I mean, go back and look at Machine Gun Kelly. Go look at Black Bear, right? These are white guys that I always tell you, I'm like, I love these dudes as artists because what Black Bear has done is made transcending heartbreak music. Heartbreak music I've never heard before. Go look at Trippie Redd. Trippie Redd is over here making transcending heartbreak music. in 2020, your heartbreak songs can't sound like what Bryson Tiller is making anymore. And it won't slap with people. Remember that conversation we had earlier yesterday? We said I told you his music is good, but it doesn't slap. It's not impactful anymore.
It's not impactful.
And so I think Bryson Tiller had a very good 2016, but I didn't think he had a good 2017. I didn't think he had a good 2018. I didn't think he had a good 2019. I don't think he's having a good 2020. We have to start asking ourselves, is Bryson Tiller's style of music making resonating with people anymore? Because it's good music. Not a single soul can listen to this album and say the music is bad. It's not bad. It's just not resonating with people anymore. And I'm never going to call him a bad artist because I think he's versatile. I think he's good. I love how he opens up in his music. But I do think that his style is not translating well to 2020. With that being said, I mean, I thought some songs were pretty dope on there. Drake had a feature on there. Man, we've been waiting on Drake and Bryson Tiller, right, to drop a song together for years now. He had a feature on there. I thought that song was pretty dope. But for the most part, I just feel like it was just blah. It was just, it didn't resonate. It didn't resonate with me.
Yeah, you know, for me, I got two songs that I really took away from this album that I thought were different and had a little bit of flair and has replay value to me personally. And it's Next to You, which is the last song on the album, and Sorrow. I really love those two songs.
Sorrow was dope.
Those two songs are dope. Like, you know, and
good picks.
Like those were my takeaways. And it really, all the other ones I can really do without, to be honest with you. But you make some valid points as well about Bryson Tiller, right?
I mean, you never.
People just need to really start asking themselves: is his style outdated? Is he not improving as an artist? Is he not picking right production on his beats? What is it about him that you like? Because like you said, you can go look around. The landscape is very vast. There's plenty of artists that do what he does. We're not about to sit here and act like he's unique because he uses samples, right? I get it. That's his style. But come on, man. I'm not really feeling this album like that. And like you said, I want to be fair as well, because you're right, man. I am not sitting here and saying the music is trash. I'm not sitting here and saying the music is low quality. No, absolutely not. This music is good, and it's average at best. I'm sorry, at least. It's at least average. I would not say it's trash, but does it do more than just what it was, I guess, supposed to do? And I think for the most part on this album, no, it didn't really hit a whole lot of marks. It was just I
will say this, and you know what gets Bryson Tiller a lot of wins? Like, that's a cool ass dude. Bryson Tiller's a cool ass dude. He gets so much wins because he's just cool. Like, you look at him, like, I remember, I'll never forget, he did a BET performance of Exchange. Most people have people in the background, like dancers, and most people have nice little background sets. All it was him in a hat, couldn't even see his face, him just singing in front of the crowd, not moving, not dancing, just singing. And I remember saying to myself, this is a cool ass dude. And I think Cool has been able to get him pretty far as an artist. But for somebody like us, like people like us, at a certain point that wears off, and I got to actually start listening to the music, and I got to start seeing if you're progressive as an artist. And I just don't see progression from him as an artist. And for somebody as talented as him, I should not be saying the things that I'm saying right now about him. But I got trust in him. I mean, we'll see.
1,000%. I think that's a good cap on the combo. Plus, we got to speed things up. I got to take my dog out. He got to piss. And yeah, anyway, let's make this quick. Let's move on. Shall we?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What we got? What's the last one we got?
Let's see. Next album is YG. YG.
Oh, yeah, we can make this one quick.
Oh, for sure. Let's do that. Is that on me? I don't remember.
That's on me. YG, or
Yeah,
you supposed to push it to
YG
me.
dropped it. Yeah, my best. YG dropped his new album called My Life 400. What'd you think of this, man?
Yeah, man, like it's very good. Okay, let me not say very good. It's good. It's a good album, and YG, doesn't really make bad albums. But the thing that really stood out to me about this album was that it's very versatile. Like I've always thought, YG had a sound, and it was always weird when he deviated from that sound. But on this album, he deviates, and he deviates far from his signature sound, and I think he succeeds. He excels. He relies on very like youthful energy on the album. He gives you emotional trap joints. He gives you, anti-cop joints. Like he gives you every type of song that you can think of. I thought it was a fantastic effort from him, and it might be probably. Oh, I was gonna say Tory Lanez is the best album that we talked about, in my opinion, but this might be second.
I would call what you just said a raving review. I'm surprised to hear that from you because I remember on numerous occasions us talking about a YG project, and you generally don't really. I don't want to say you don't like his music. I'm not saying that, but like I've never heard you rave about a project from him personally.
He makes good projects. He makes good I mean,
yes, he's solid.
He may have one or two classic projects on his belt. Like his first album for sure is classic. His second one I thought was very good.
Yeah, to me he's solid. I think YG dropped a pretty good project. I think on the heels of his man Nipsey Hussle passing away, being killed, it was clear that he drew a whole lot of inspiration from that. And then also it came out that he got a lot of inspiration from Tupac on this album, which was surprising. Very surprising. So with that being said, I think this album is pretty damn good. I thought it was solid, man. It lived up to YG's, I think, what he does. He puts together good music. Like YG is low-key a really good musician. I know he don't look like it. I know he doesn't maybe even sound like it. And he maybe comes across as ignorant when he talks, maybe this gangster dude, and I get all of that. But throw the music on, you listen to it objectively. He gives you a lot of different vibes, and he knows how to turn up. He knows how to turn down. He knows how to get, real and deep on many different levels. You know what I'm saying? He does a lot of different things. So shout out to him, man. Like, I think this album is one of those albums, to me, that's underrated. Like, I don't think people are going to appreciate this album like they should.
Underrated, yeah.
I don't think, and I'm saying that the joint been out for 2 days. And not that I've heard anybody say anything about this album, because I really wasn't looking for it, but I just feel like this is one of them joints that's going to sweep under the rug. Low key is one of his better projects. It might be his second best project behind My Life, My Crazy Life. This might be his second best album.
To me, it's his most impressive. It's easily his most impressive album.
I would say this is his second best. I think My Crazy Life was too riveting.
I mean, it's like I said,
My Crazy Life was like a damn novel.
It's
kind of like what I said about 21 Savage Mode, how that should just be sounding so
cohesive.
Sounds cohesive. Like that was different what he did with that My Crazy Life. But
I agree, that's his best.
Musically, this one might be better. Musically.
That's what I said. Impressive as in musically, this is his most impressive album.
I would agree with that. Not more needs to be said. And we're going to be back to regular scheduled programming after my dog Obi takes the piss.
Now to my favorite segment, which is the ill and the not so advised. I'm going to start it off. 3 songs that I was feeling. First one is YK Osiris, Money Keep Coming. I thought YK Osiris had a pretty good album that dropped this year. He's a traditional R&B singer in a sense, but then he also sprinkles in some, hard stuff, some trap stuff into his music. So he's very enjoyable. I think he's an artist that's trending upwards and just getting better. And Money Keep Coming is a song that, in my opinion, is him at his best. Like it's hella catchy, it's motivational, and then it also just oozes of like just feel good vibes, but then also like hood vibes too. Like in my opinion, it's the best version of him that you get on this song. And so Money Keep Coming, definitely a song that made my iTunes library. That's the important thing. It made my iTunes library. Second song is Ari Lennox, Chocolate Pomegranate. Now, there is what I would call a hodgepodge of R&B singers in the industry these days. You know, you can go down the line. SZA, Queen Naja, Summer Walker, Janae Aiko, Kalani, the list goes on and on. I think one of the best that is probably the most underrated is Ari Lennox. I think she has a beautiful voice, and I just love that she stays true to herself, like outside of the music. This week, she dropped a song called Chocolate Pomegranate, and it's a traditional R&B slow jam type joint in which she displays a level of excellence as a singer that is astonishing. I think the song is perfect. I don't think there's any flaws to it. And I just really like this sound for her. It's definitely different from what you're used to hearing on the radio. Third song that really caught my attention was a remix to Levitating by Dua Lipa. Yes, on this show, we're talking about Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa's fantastic, man. I think Dua Lipa is an artist that can make music that everybody can enjoy. Like, yes, I get his pop. I get that there's a lot of EDM elements, but it's just so much feel-good vibes attached to it. So I actually recommend that you listen to her last album that dropped a couple months ago. In this Levitating remix, you get a verse by the Baby that I think is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Probably one of his best verses that he's dropped. Even though the beat to Levitating is groovy, at the end of the day, the Baby finds a way to fit in with his own unique style and everything, and rides the beat fantastically, and then also displays a level of swag that I think only makes the song more intriguing, only makes it better. So Levitating is one of the top songs. And then we got Travis Scott Franchise as a not so advised song. I love Travis Scott. Like, I think he makes very high quality trap music. Like, I wouldn't even compare him to any other artist in the game right now. I think he's on another level when it comes to musicality as a trap hip hop artist. At the same time, I feel like the last couple of songs that he has brought out has just kind of been all right to me. Like, I think that after listening to Astroworld, I'm used to hearing him take things to another gear. And I just feel like his last couple of releases, the one for Tenet and then this song, he didn't take it to the next gear that I need him to take it to. Travis Scott should not be thinking that he's on the same level as these other artists. He should not. He's better than these other artists. And I think that he just kind of dumbed down his sound on Franchise. To add on top of it, it's not, by the way, it's not a bad song, but I just think it's not a song that he should be making at this point of his career. And then to add on top of it, MIA is on the song, and I love MIA. You know, Paper Planes is a dope ass song, but let's be real, she just doesn't fit that song. Like, she doesn't fit on the song. I was going back and forth. Like, I think her part was tight. I think her part was not tight. I think ultimately, after a week or two of listening to the song, I don't think her part was that tight. But that is my ill and not so advised list. Let's see what list you got to challenge that, sir.
Not a bad list, I might add, man. Yeah. You know, I thought the Ari Lennox chocolate pomegranate joint was very good. Like I really like that song.
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually was gonna be on my list until I saw it on yours. Hey, listen, I'm glad one of us is covering it. That shit it needs the recognition, I think. Good list though. Good list. Good list. I feel the same way as well about that Travis Scott franchise joint. Like that shit just kind of sounds it's just I said this before we recorded. I said, are we tired of Travis Scott? Like, we need a heat check on Travis Scott right now. I just feel that way. Listen, I know a lot of people say that shit, and they just kind of say it for like entertainment purposes, for conversation, kind of like, oh, does LeBron James still have it? Does he have it? And it's clear that he does. So listen, I'm not saying that for entertainment purpose. I genuinely am saying, you know, are we getting tired of Travis Scott? Like legitimately, because he's given us the same vibe for too long. But good list though, man. Good list. So for me, I'm gonna highlight a few songs from my ill list. Polo G dropped a new joint called Epidemic, and I feel like that joint is it's fire, man. It's fire. Like, you know, if I had my my lighter right now, like I did on the last episode, I would put that up right now and let that joint burn, because Polo G did his thing on that. You know, it was a little different vibe from Polo G that we got though. I think normally Polo G, you know, he raps, of course, and he's very poetic and very great at storytelling and stuff like that. I thought he did a good job at doing that, but infusing a little melody, a little bit more melody than he normally does into his song. So that was dope. And guys, I swear, if you hear somebody screaming in the back, trust me, it's not a human, it's a dog. Just want to point that out. Anyway, back to my list.
Are you torturing some mouse? That's what it sounds like.
Hey, bro, listen, I can't control people that don't speak English, okay? Like at a certain point, you know what I'm saying, there's a communication gap and things happen. But back to my list. My next ill song, Sway Lee dropped a new song called Dance Like No One's Watching. And listen, man, Sway Lee has just been dropping a lot of singles here and there. Like, I just feel like Sway Lee has been searching for the next vibe for years. It's like, doesn't it feel like Sway Lee just keeps swinging? He keeps swinging for the fences. He got us to do Unforgettable, and listen, that song was unforgettable. It's like, we have not forgotten you, Sway Lee. You're right. That song was unforgettable, and I feel like he's not trying to forget about that song as well. Doesn't it feel that way? It just seems like he just keeps giving us a different bop. And while this song is
holding on to that song, like
he's holding on, bro. Like, and listen, I'm here to say this song, Dance Like No One's Watching, is not unforgettable. I'm sad to report. But what I will say is, I think this song is hot. This is a hot song. Like, it's one of those low-key hot songs, right? Where I could easily see somebody saying it's trash. Like, get this average song out of here. Like your dude said earlier, this is neutral. I can see somebody saying that. However, I think this is one of them joints that's going to grow on you the more you hear it. You start understanding the dynamicness in the song. It's pretty tight. I urge you guys to check that joint out. My next song that I think is ill is Ella Mai and her new song, Not Another Love Song. You know, we haven't heard from Ella Mai in maybe 2 years or so. And while, you know, it's cool. You know, I like artists to drop music, go away for a couple years, reevaluate, go work on some new music, right? Let's not hear their name. Let somebody else get some shine. Ella Mai came out with a new song, which I thought was fire. You know, like it's the same vibe that we're used to from Ella Mai. So, you know, no surprises. You're not going to be wowed by some type of performance that you've never heard before from her. But what I will say is that the same vibe that we're used to from LMA, she delivered again. And if you're somebody who likes LMA music, you're gonna enjoy this joint just like you did all of her other album cuts that she put out on her last album. So, yo, if this is LMA season, let me know, because the album she dropped a few years ago was tight. Like I'm here for LMA music for real. You know, we got people like Mariah the Scientist trying to take LMA's spot, and that is not happening on my watch. I'm sorry.
I love me some Mariah the Scientist.
No, listen, I love it. I love her too. Man.
They do sound similar. They do.
For sure. And
just like
yeah,
no, sounds like Rihanna.
Just like who?
Georgia Smith sounds like Rihanna.
Oh man. She
Sorry.
really does.
My bad.
Does. But anyway, yeah, tight. It's a dope song. Check that out, guys. I promise you. It's tight. On to some songs that are not so advised for me. And unfortunately, this is the first time person on my list. Designer dropped a song called Molly. You know, it's just, Designer has been one of the mysteries in music, in my opinion, for, I don't know, a few years since really he dropped. You know what I'm saying? Panda, everybody thought he was Future, but then they found out he wasn't Future. Then they were like, oh shit, that's not Future, but this song is still hot. Talk about a guy who never recreated the vibe that he created on that initial run. And listen, I'm not here to vilify him and hold him up against the Panda wave and what he did, because I do think Designer is a really good artist. You know, he's dropped a few joints here and there over the years that I'm like, yo, did y'all hear this? That shit is fire, but nobody cares for some reason. It's weird. I don't understand. With that being said, this song Molly is not it. This is not one of them joints that I'm like, hey guys, go check out. Just ignore it, guys. Yeah, ignore it like you've already been ignoring Designer's music more than likely.
Ouch. Right.
Nah, it's just a song that's not that good. Like, I just feel like you can't just be going away and then coming back and dropping this. I think Designer, you need to change the narrative on your artistry and how people are receiving your music. And this is just not where I think he excels. You know, he needs to drop something a little bit more reminiscent of that song that he put out called Up. Or even Timmy Turner and Up, you know, restore us to those type of vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring us home with the musicality. He's not doing it. And for that reason, that song is on my not so advised list. That's my list for this episode, guys. What do you think?
Wow. I mean, first and foremost, Polo G is, you know, we said Tyler Hero's called Baby Goat. I think we can call Polo G Baby Goat. Like, dude's reaching for greatness. And I think Epidemic is just another great joint by him. I didn't really like Sway Lee Dance Like No One's Watching. Sway Lee is so good, but he makes such bad music to me. And I thought, like, when I first heard Sway Lee was coming out with a solo project, like, first time, I was like, yo, this dude's about to kill it. I treat Sway Lee's music like Giannis Antetokounmpo now. I'm like, when Giannis Antetokounmpo was MVP for the first time, I was like, yo, of course he's going to succeed. He's going to the final, of course. And then I see that they create that wall. And I'm like, yo, the next year, I'm like, I'm not going to crown Giannis until after I see him defeat the wall. I feel like Sway Lee, I ain't crowning him until he drops a good album, because I was very disappointed with all the stuff he's dropped since Unforgettable. Very disappointed. He had a song with Drake. Did anybody care? He had a song with Drake.
Yeah, that won't be too late. Won't
be too late.
That song was the definition of average, and most people kind of liked it, which was weird. That was average.
I'm like, man. But anyway,
but I do like, dude. I'm telling you, he got some joints that actually kind of go, but it's like nobody really cares. Like, I thought Reality Check was tight. Reality Check was tight, and this one's tight too. It's low key tight though. But hey,
I've yet to hear that LMA song. Like that's on my radar. LMA is great, man. Like she makes, we always talk about all these artists, which I talked about all the R&B artists. I forgot to mention LMA. LMA is like the Jamal Murray of R&B singers, where you start to think about it. It's like, wait a second, I didn't put Jamal Murray as a top 10 point guard. Like I wasn't even thinking about him when we were talking about point guards, but he's good. LMA is a very good R&B singer that should be considered up there with all the other top R&B singers, but we just forget about her, right? And I actually disagree with you. I thought that Designer Molly Jones was actually pretty good. If I said this in the post that I did about the song, I said if we lived in a parallel universe in which Future was an accountant, we would actually think Designer was tight as hell. But he's always going to have to live up to Future standards, and that's never going to work for him. He's never going to get past that. So he's probably going to be a one-hit wonder, but I don't think it's because of what he's doing. I think it's just because Future in this universe we're living in is the hottest rapper in the game. But
yeah, unfortunately, people don't care about design. Unfortunately, people don't care about Designer, and it's sad. But hey, listen, people can listen to whoever they want. And yeah, you can disagree too. Listen, I'm not mad at that. Go like the song. I'm not listening to it again. For real. I'm not.
I agree.
Just saying.
Okay. You ain't. For my ill-advised thoughts, I want to talk about TrUtH and how in hip-hop music today, how the TrUtH has had an impact on a lot of artists, on just how we view these artists, and et cetera, et cetera. So as you may know, mental illness is floating around probably every industry in the world right now. But I think mental illness is something that never really has been tackled in hip hop correctly. So this last month or so, we all know about Kanye West and his tweets. I believe that Kanye West, I strongly believe, I could be wrong, has some type of mental disorder. I personally believe something is wrong with Kanye West. These last couple of weeks, he's been doing some pretty interesting things on Twitter, such as putting his contracts on Twitter. And we're talking about, he put maybe 90 contracts on Twitter. He scanned it and just kept posting it back to back. And then he's also been exposing some people for being either racist, et cetera, et cetera. And, just kind of acting erratic on Twitter. Here's the thing that's very interesting. In the midst of him going on these tweet storms, he was actually getting support from artists that were saying that he's actually speaking the truth. I believe Logic came out and said what Kanye West is saying is valid. We believe Logic, right? Logic seems like a sane, regular character, right? We believe Logic. Hit Boy came out and said, I don't really F with Kanye, but what he's saying is true. I can believe Hit Boy, right? He doesn't seem erratic like Logic. And there's numerous people who we would deem as good in a good mental space that has co-signed the things that Kanye West has said. So even though the truth, what they consider the truth, is being put out in the most erratic way, it's still the truth to a lot of people. And it's like, if so many people are co-signing what Kanye West is saying, maybe he is telling the truth. That brings me to a story that I don't think is actually getting a lot of publicity right now. But Jaguar Wright, I don't know if you guys know who Jaguar Wright is. I know exactly who Jaguar Wright is. Let me give you a brief synopsis of why I know Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright is one of the main singers on Jay-Z's The Live MTV Unplugged album, an album that I love. Jaguar Wright puts up an unbelievable performance on the song, and one that's very memorable. She is clearly a songwriter, kind of a background singer, somebody that plays the back. So she has been in the industry for quite some time, and definitely is known by a lot of people that are artists, but not necessarily to your average listener, because she plays the back. And you know how it goes. People that play the back actually get to see the behind the scenes stuff that we don't get to see. Well, Jaguar Wright, these last couple of weeks, have been calling out prominent musicians for some pretty egregious things. I'm talking very prominent. Now, when you look at the videos in which she calls the people out on, she actually looks a little out of it. She actually looks kind of crazy, I would say. I would personally, if I looking at based off what I see, might say she has like something wrong with her, like a mental illness also. But once again, going back to what I said, is she telling the truth? One allegation that she had was that Mary J. Blige is a lesbian and that like she's living a fake life. She had another allegation about Alicia Keys, and she called her a home wrecker. She said Common sexually harassed her in a behind the scenes at a concert. She has called out Jill Scott. She has called out Erykah Badu. She said, listen to this. She said the Roots knew that R. Kelly was picking up minors. This is the type of things that she is saying. Now, once again, I don't know. I don't know the behind the scenes. I'm not Jaguar Wright. This is what she's saying. But the problem that we have in society and the problem that we have in hip hop is we tend to believe the people that are stand-up people. And we tend to put the people that come across as erratic, the people that come across as crazy, the people we consider mentally ill, and push them to the back. It has literally become a war between mentally ill versus the people that we perceive as being stand-up people. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I believe Jaguar Wright. I personally do not believe the claims Jaguar Wright is saying, but in the end of the day, who am I to say that she's lying? I don't know. You don't know. We all don't know. And so it's becoming a scary moment in hip hop when this is the type of things where we are getting some of the most breaking news we don't know from people we deem erratic. And we're just pushing, we just look at Jaguar Wright, we just look at Kanye West, and he's crazy. He's crazy. How many things did Kanye West say that was actually crazy? If anything, Kanye West has been more, how do I put it? Accurate with his comments than other people. Right? Hit Boy said whatever. Hit Boy against Kanye West said, oh yeah, Kanye West did me dirty. I work with Beyonce. Kanye West actually got specific, more specific than Hit Boy did. Kanye West, right, has been the one that actually detailed why his relationship with Jay-Z went sour. Have we actually heard Jay-Z actually explain what happened? So like I said before, I'm just going to end it like this. Like I said before, I don't believe Jaguar Wright's claims. That's just me personally. They're so outrageous. But it's not because I think that she's erratic or mentally ill. I just think it sounds outrageous. But at the same time, the people that we consider to be outrageous have been telling some major truths. That's my ill-advised thoughts.
Not bad. I like that one. But as you were saying it, you know, I started thinking to myself, you know, this reminds me very, very, very much of, you know, have you ever watched like let's say Law and Order, right? Or you ever seen any show where they detail a courtroom, and you know, when there's that stuff happening and there's a jury involved, if you notice, the one thing that the lawyer always does when they're defending their client, or even let's say whether they're the plaintiff or the defendant, whatever, the lawyer always attempts to discredit the other person, because when you can show that the person is not trustworthy or consistent in who they have shown themselves to be to the public, it puts doubt into the jurors' minds and say, whoa, like, you know what? I really don't know. It puts doubt. And I think that that's what Kanye West has shown. He's been discredited, right? Donald Trump, he's been discredited. How can we believe anything that comes out of people's mouths who have been discredited, right? That's the challenge, unfortunately. And a lot of this is perception, right? Mm-hmm. It's perception. I think your original thing was it's all perception. Like when you're perceived one way, it's kind of hard to get out of that shadow. So I get it, man. I get it. Honestly, I haven't been following any of this, so this is news to me. But as you were talking, I'm like, listen, how can I validate outrageous claims as if I was there? Well, what do you want me to play detective? It's what people are doing with Meg Thee Stallion and Tory. We're playing detective for outrageous claims, and at the end of the day, it's everybody's opinion. Who am I supposed to know the truth? Are you? No one fucking knows.
No one knows. And
except for those people, right? What do you want me to do?
It's a slippery slope because, you know, how many times have we like knew something, right? And the person's like, that's false, that's rumors, it's not true. And then 20 years later, they come out and say, oh, it's absolutely true. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that happened. How many times does that happen? I'm somebody that's not so quick to be like, yo, I don't believe that rumor. I believe rumors. I believe there's some truth to rumors. I'm quick to say that, Yeah. And so I was actually one of the first. I was actually one of the first people when the Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion situation happened. I remember saying to myself, I was like, when they said that she went to the hospital, it wasn't validated that Tory Lanez shot her at the time. I was starting to connect those two, where I was like, I think they might think he did it, or he might be prime suspect in this situation. So, I definitely, I would say, take every rumor you hear with a grain of salt, but don't dismiss it.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't validate it.
It makes it hard.
So what is it at that point?
Exactly.
It's a rumor. It's just a rumor.
Exactly. And another thing, we need to stop putting people on pedestals, but that's another story.
That's a whole nother 3-hour discussion for another show. We're not doing that. I'll take over here, sir. That was a good ill-advised thought, though. So for me, I wanted to talk about something that actually has been ongoing for the last month, and I would say up until this week. You guys might be familiar, but there's been a back and forth between two pillars in, I would say, the hip-hop, podcast, entertainment field, and that's Joe Budden and Charlamagne the God, right? Now, both, if you guys have been keeping up, which, I tried, but at a certain point, I was like, this is petty. It's clear to me that there's some type of friendship / resentment / enviness / petty. I don't know what's going on between them two dudes. They know. It's not any of my business. But what I can tell you that they have been disputing and / arguing about over the last month has been very interesting. The topic has been very interesting, and it's the topic of kind of ownership and owning your brand and owning and negotiating contracts and, you know, how much money you walk away with and who's involved and things that if you're somebody who's an aspiring anybody, I feel like anyone can take away something positive from the back and forth that's been going on. I don't care if you're an artist. I don't care if you're a lawyer. I don't care if you own your own landscaping business. I don't care what it is. Be an up and coming podcaster like us. I don't know. The point is they've been going back and forth about negotiating contracts. And so this is kind of on the heels of the conversation you were just talking about. I see some parallels. Contractually, some people sign bad deals. Well, Joe Budden, if you guys didn't know, he's been exclusively putting out his podcast on Spotify for the last 2 years. The deal is up. As of today, they're on a bit of a hiatus because the deal is up. They went on vacation. They're chilling out. They're figuring out their next endeavors before they roll things out. Meanwhile, Charlemagne the God announced his new podcast network on iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia, whatever you want to call it, called The Black Effect. Very interesting move because he made the announcement and he put out a press statement with 15 to 16 podcasts that are going to be a part of this network. I'll just give you a few. I'm not going to run down the list because I don't even know them all. Drink Champs with Nori. You may be familiar. The 85 South Show, DC Young Fly, Chico Bean, all of them dudes. There's quite a few. I'm not gonna go down the list, but the point is he got some notable names in the podcasting industry already to join his podcast network. Meanwhile, Joe Budden launches his own podcast network called the Joe Budden Network. And so while I feel like two people can have the same goal at mind, but go about it two different ways. I think people need to really keep that in mind and stop getting in other people's business in terms of negotiation. I've just been seeing a whole lot of back and forth with these two gentlemen. And I'm saying gentlemen because, hey, man, they've been doing some boss type shit, and it's noted. I've been paying attention. I think it's interesting to see how moves are made in the podcasting industry, and how two pillars are establishing their own brands as networks and bringing on other podcasters and other brands onto their network. I've been paying attention, man. The conversation of ownership has been one that I think even, we have been having on this show loosely, not going into detail at all, but we over here doing our own thing. We have Dream Vision Network, right? And so with that being said, not saying that we were on the forefront of the network conversation, but it's cool to see people establishing their own brands and networks and obviously come together as needed, right? But can we just stop getting in other people's pockets and acting like you know more than the other person? To me, I feel like the back and forth between these two guys is a result of people just not being able to coexist in the same space without shit getting petty. It's like, bro, like, just y'all go off and do your own thing, but know that one person is actually good for the other person. Because if Charlemagne the God's Black Effect Network is a hit and it's a success, it actually pushes the entire industry forward. You can negotiate better. Brands are now accepting, people from hip hop, and they're more willing to collaborate and they're more willing to do things. And I just feel like pettiness is at the is the downfall of a lot of people. And I can see these two dudes going back and forth, and ego is at the forefront. And it's whack to me. That shit is whack. Build your brand and keep it moving. But shout out to them two dudes, man, because they're changing the game right now. These are two dudes that are at the forefront, and I think a lot of people need to pay attention to what's actually going on in the podcast space. And if you're an aspiring podcaster or an aspiring anything, make sure your business is tight. That's it. That's everybody's thoughts.
That's a very good ill-advised thoughts. I mean, I it's funny because I was reading about the Joe Biden like his issues with Spotify, and I kind of didn't dig deep. I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I was reading about it. You know, one thing that is funny about the hip hop world that to me I just find very funny. We are in the hip hop world, people are so afraid of competition. Like, people cannot smile in the midst of nonsense happening to you. Like, you know, I mean, I've seen people copy me. People copy me a lot. Like, people copy my site all the time. People have literally taken words from my site and put it on their site. You know, but
and we know who you are. We ain't naming no names, but we know who you are. Anyway,
I get frustrated. It's people.
And honestly, I sorry, it's cool. I like that type of shit. I don't even get mad at that. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's, you know, people. I've seen people, and I don't get mad at it. I mean, and that's my point. Like, you know, you got to welcome competition. In the podcast world has been diluted. There is so many podcasts out, and I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell the world what I told you, what Tyra Banks said. Yes, I'm quoting Tyra Banks. She was on Dr. Oz. I'm quoting Tyra Banks from Dr. Oz show. She said, you know, being good at something is no longer better than being unique at something. And I just think that Charlemagne the God and Joe Budden are two very unique characters at what they do. That is way better than being good at what you do. And in my opinion, that the two can exist. And I just think that it kind of sucks, especially as two black dudes watching like two bosses not getting along with each other. Like, just
hey,
like it should be okay.
Two black kings.
We get to
podcast space. Like, it's whack to just coexist.
We get here. We struggle to get here. Mm-hmm. And when we finally get here, we hate each other for getting to the top. Like, you know, that to me is just backwards. And I just think, you know, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. But shout out to them. Yeah. That's some major moves.
Yeah, they're doing some cool things, man. I'm gonna be paying attention because the space is loaded. The space is still emerging. Hey, shout out to us. We were ranked number 189 on the Chartable Top 200 music commentary podcast in America. Can you believe that?
Shouldn't I get a raise for that? I should get a raise. Where's my raise?
About that.
My palms itching. Yeah. Remember that joint? I'm itching. Huh? I'm itching for the money. Remember that joint, Future?
Future?
That song came on in the club. Woo.
Yeah, that shit was hot. But yeah, shout out to us, man. Listen. We finally charted in America. We charted in England for random reasons, which I still don't understand. As if we cover the UK drill scene.
It's because we talked about it.
So anyway, let's get out of here, man. We've talked enough. Like the show on YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating. Wise gang, we are out of here. But before we get up out of here, as always, if you're giving advice, make sure it's ill.
Yes, sir.